Hi guys, thanks for joining me on Making with Marilyn. Have you ever had one of those days where things just don't go right? Like, look at the camera's off, I can't get the camera straight. I cut earrings out of these fabrics, they're actually leather, and I'm wearing them. I finally was successful, but I just kept hitting a brick wall. But I trudged on and I got them done. Now, I'm not even sure I should upload this video because there's so many mistakes in it. But I figure that's a good learning lesson. Even those of us who have done earring after earring after earring, we still have problems. But if you can figure out how to fix those problems, it's a success. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this video. If I get a lot of negativity or thumbs down or things like that, I'll go ahead and remove it because that's just not good for the psyche. But I thought you might want to learn from my mistakes. So if you're interested in learning how to design earrings like these and cutting them with your Cricut maker, then grab a couple of pieces of leather and join me. What I'm using is this kind of a tannish golden fabric with some metallic, oh, not polka dots, but some splotches on it. And then this, even though it looks brown, it is burgundy or maroon. That's just one of the things that isn't going right tonight. Anyway, I'm going to move on because you'd rather watch me make earrings than talk. So, let's go. I'm in Cricut Design Space, and the first thing that I want to do is click on Images. I have an earring image that I've used multiple times and I uploaded it, so I can go over here to Filter and click on Uploaded Images, and here it is right here. So I'm going to click on it and then click Insert Images, and here it is. I'm going to make it large so you can see the detail of it. The thing that I really like about this earring is that the top is rounded off. I find that to be much easier to work with in knowing where to put your fish hook or your jump ring. It's just easier to me because you can get it closer to the top without it being so narrow like when you have a point. So I've shown you in a couple of prior videos, I believe, how to get this rounded. If you can't find that and you're interested, leave me a comment and I'll find out which video it is and I'll refer you to that. Now I want my earrings to be about 2.5 inches tall, so I'm going to click on the shape. Well, it was already selected, and then go to More, and for the height I'll just back up and put 2.5. I want it to be just a little bit narrower than this, so I need to unlock the shape. That allows you to change either the height or the width without affecting the other. It's already highlighted or selected, so I'll click on More. For my width, I want 1.45. Okay, so here's my earring. Part of my earring is going to be gold and part's going to be maroon, so I'll go ahead and just turn this gold. To get the break in the middle of the earring, you click on Shapes, click on Square. Okay, I want to unlock the shape so that I can change the height without it getting very, very narrow. And I like this to be somewhere around 0.04. It's really not imperative that it's 0.04. It could be a little smaller, a little larger. 0.04 is just what I like, so that's 0.042, that's fine. I could have gone up to the More and changed the height, but it's not that important that it's exact. Now I want to find out where I want my earring to split. So I want it to split, I think that looks pretty good. So I'll select the teardrop and the line, and I'll use this slice feature right here. Click on Slice, and then I'm just going to move that out of the way, highlight my stack of things that I need to get rid of, and then on my keyboard, since the X is kind of hidden, on my keyboard I'll hit Delete. And then I need to delete the rest. There we go. Now the second thing I want to do is duplicate this, and I want to turn this side maroon. So it'll just be a dark red. I want to keep the bottom of the earring maroon, so I've highlighted or selected the maroon or the red shape, and then go down here to contour. Contour allows you to hide things on your design that you don't want. So I click on contour, and I want to keep the bottom, so I'm going to click on the top. That means you want to hide it, and then click this X, and I have the bottom of my earring. So then I'll click on the yellow one and contour, and this time I'm going to hide the bottom part. So hide the bottom part and then scroll up and click the X. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and just click both shapes, align, and then center horizontally, and I have them right where I want them, other than I want there to be just a little bit of space between them so it's realistic the way it'll be when I'm wearing them. So since I did that, let's go ahead and align them again so that they're perfect, center horizontally. Okay, now it's time to put the holes in my earrings if I'm not punching them myself. And it's questionable on how well the hole is going to turn out on leather when you have your machine do it, but I'm going to try it. If it doesn't turn out real crisp, then I can use my hole punch and make it better. But it is so much easier to line them up where you want them on the computer than it is to do them by hand when you're doing multiple holes. When I'm just cutting one up here, I highly prefer to punch that myself. But down here, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to have the computer or have the Cricut punch those. So I need shape, circle. I like my circle to be 0.08 inches, so I've selected it, click on more, and then I'll go ahead and change this to 0.08. And that's just a really nice size for jump rings or loops to go through. I need 3 more of those, so I'll duplicate it. And then I want each circle to have its own color because it's so much easier when you are trying to select the shapes if you can just tell what color they are. So let's do a lavender. We'll do an orange. Really doesn't matter what color you do, just something that you can see. Blue. And let's go ahead and do a light green. Okay, so my orange one, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the yellow so it shows up better, about where I think I want it. Then I'm going to go ahead and make this larger so we can see the details better. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to select this reddish orange, hold down my command button, and select this purple color. Then what I'm going to do is click Align and Center vertically so that they didn't really move much. They were already pretty well on the same plane, but if they weren't, that would get them to the right place. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with my green, hold down my command, the blue, arrange, whoops, wrong one, align, and center vertically. Okay, the next thing that I want to do is have this one the same distance to this side as this one is to this side. So I'm going to select my orange and my purple, and I'm going to go ahead and attach them. Then now that they're both selected, I can hold down my command and select the yellow as well. You can see over here the purple ones are still selected because they're dark gray. Now I'm going to go up to Align and Center horizontally. It's going to center the yellow on the combination of these two since I have them attached. Okay, and you saw the purples moved over a little bit. Now I want to go ahead and try to have these bottom ones really close to under the top ones because I'm going to align them here in just a minute. And if they're off by very much, then the purple one can shift as well as the color that's below it. So you want them fairly straight under them to begin with. Now first thing, when I highlight it, it highlights both, so I need to go back and detach those. Now I can tell the green is over too far, so I'm going to go ahead and move it over a little bit, the blue the same way. Because again, you want as little movement in the purple as possible since they have been centered, or the group of them has been centered on the yellow. Okay, so I'm going to select the purple, hold down the command, select the green. Now click Align and center horizontally. Okay, slight movement, not too bad, but they are exactly where they need to be now. Select both of these, align, and center horizontally. I think that looks great. So now if I select the yellow and hold the command down, select one of the holes, I can hit slice. If I select both holes, I can't select slice because I have 3 things selected. Let me just get out of that. Okay, so select the yellow, hold down the command, select one of the purple circles. That allows you to slice. Then before I move anything, I'm going to come back to the yellow and I'm going to send it to the back. There we go, because it's easier for me to see what I need to select. So the yellow is still selected, and then I'll select this right-hand circle, and I can slice because I only have 2 things selected. Okay, now I can just move the yellow off, highlight everything I want to get rid of, and hit the X. So now down here, here's another way you could do it. You could select the 2 circles, hold the command down, weld them so they truly become just one shape. Then you can select the red and the green, and it is just considered 2 shapes because the green ones are welded. So there's 2 ways to do that. So again, I'll just select all those and get rid of them. So now the last thing that I need to do is select both layers and click duplicate. Now we're ready to send it to the maker. So let's go ahead and click on Make It. I'm going to use the same cut setting for both layers, and so I won't go back and forth to show you all of that. I am putting the pretty side face down, and so if there was anything on this that I needed to face a certain direction, I would mirror both layers, but I don't need to do that. This is very symmetrical. I do like to move my shapes down away from the corner so I can get some tape around them. So I'm just going to make sure that I put my leather about 1 inch over and 1 inch down so that they'll cut in the right place. I don't want to waste leather up here. I'm going to click Continue. Okay, my screen might look a little bit different because I had to restart my computer. For some reason, my computer would not recognize my maker. I tried various things, but the thing that worked was I totally shut down my computer and started it back over. So I've opened my project back up, and we were here at Continue. I'm going to go ahead and browse all materials, and I'm going to search for leather. And I'm using this genuine leather. It's a Cricut. This is for Cricut brand genuine leather, but it's what I use on non-Cricut genuine leather. And then done. Wants me to make sure that my star wheels are moved all the way to the right. I'm just going to use default pressure because I have good luck with it. I need my deep point blade in. I'll turn my camera around and we'll keep going. The first thing that I'm going to do is put down some clear contact paper to protect my mat. You wouldn't think since you're putting it pretty side down, that you'd have a lot of fibers on the mat, but you really do. So I just like to protect my mat where the cut's going to happen. And then I'm going to try to use this little part right here so that I don't waste a lot of leather. Remember, the cut's going to be about an inch down, an inch over. So I'll give it just a little extra room so that I can put some tape on it. Now, I did have a subscriber ask me about the different tapes I've used, because over time I really have jumped from one to another. When I first started doing this, I was using strong grip Cricut transfer tape and cutting it up and laying it down, but it is really a pain to use and you're cutting. It's so much easier just to use some tape. So then I started using Dollar Tree tape, and that works for most things, but once in a while when you're really having a tough cut, there's a lot of pressure against it and it's pushing against your leather. If it's not a super clean mat, or you don't have strong enough contact paper under it, or just a myriad of things that can go on, the leather will shift, and that's not good enough. So what I've moved on to is this Super Hold Scotch tape. It says it's 50% more adhesive than the regular Scotch tape. So I don't think you can see it over here, but my light is flashing. And so I'll go ahead and load my material. And then when this flashes, we're ready to cut. Oh, I need to change my blade though. Look at this. I have my rotary blade in, and I'm supposed to be using my deep point blade. So here it is. I want to make sure that it's clean. So I just press and clean it and then put it back in. Okay. The other thing is I forgot to move my star wheels. So let me unload this. Get these star wheels moved out of the way. I'm not doing very well today, am I? Okay, cross your fingers. Okay, here is a perfect example of it shifting around and pulling up. So I can't get away with that small of a piece. I really need to have tape all the way around it. So I'm going to redo this cut. Let me take this off and get things situated. Here's what I have. This one, you can tell it got bunched up right there. It just shifted some, and then the cut didn't go all the way to where it needed to. We live and learn. Okay, let me check my blade, see if it has any fibers on it. And it does. I don't know if you can see those, but there are plenty of maroon fibers on that. So let's clean that off. Now, if my leather moves around this time, then I'm going to have to resort to putting something like Cricut Strong Grip transfer tape underneath of it, but let's see what we get. Okay, well, it stayed put, so that's a good sign. Okay, so if I use this leather again, and I will click on the more, a little bit more pressure, because it's just not cutting quite all the way through in some of the places. We'll set those aside and get the other layer done. Okay, so I've taped it down all around it with my Super Hold Scotch tape, and I cut it down so that if when I pull it off the mat, if it pulls some of the metallic off, it hasn't ruined my entire piece. So I'll go ahead and load this in, and now we cut. Okay, so once again I had a problem in the middle of the cut, and I think what the issue is it is doing a terrible job of cutting the holes out, and it cuts each one twice, and I think that that is making the leather lift because it's just putting so much pressure on it. I'm going to have to go ahead and punch those out myself because they just won't release. And then it quit in the middle of that second cut. So I am having a bad night, but I'm not giving up. Now the good news is the metallic didn't come up, but I'm going to put one piece down for one more triangle or the top of my earring. I'll use this one and punch the holes out the rest of the way myself. I'm not going to have my Cricut punch the holes in the next one I do, and hopefully that'll be the trick. Okay, let's see what we get this time. This is going to be perfect, right? Okay, it came out great. I did not have the Cricut do my holes because I think that was a big part of the problem is those holes are so intricate, puts a lot of force on it, cuts them twice, and that just shoves your leather around. So I just need to remember that when I'm using this leather, do not have the Cricut punch your holes. So let's go ahead and deal with this maroon leather for now. Take my tape off. Now to make the cut final, to get it all the way through, I want to use some really nice scissors. And first thing I'm going to do is just cut between them so that I'm working just with one piece at a time. I'm just going to keep that straight cut going, and then I just barely, just hanging on by a thread here. Okay, so there's that one. This one's held on in two places. Now, I don't usually have this with the Cricut. It is a powerful machine. Oh, it's just barely hanging on there. Okay, I'm going to get close to it first. Now the cut over here, there's a little bit more lacking. I mean, I don't know how long that is, 1/16 of an inch or so, or 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to pull this up to my face to do it so I can see it a lot better. Okay, like I was saying, the Cricut, it is a super machine. It does a great job, but once in a while, for whatever reason, you have a leather that is just a little different. I probably should have put it on more pressure, but this is the first time I've cut this leather, and usually the default cut setting works perfectly fine. Now I'm pretty picky about my edges and those little frays. You can probably see the frays on those around here. And so when it's dark leather, I just burn them off with a lighter. Be very careful. Now on this lighter leather, I would not want to do that the way I just did it. I had a little bit of tape left on the back, or transfer tape, or contact paper. Let me get that off. So on these, I'm going to, from the back, very angled so I'm not going through the front, is just cut those little frays off. Much better. Now you need to be really careful when you do this. I have accidentally cut through the front just a little bit before, and I didn't do it too many times because you learn the hard way when you have to remake your earrings not to do that. Okay, that looks nice and clean. Okay, so let me clean up. I'll get my hardware and we'll add that to the earrings. The first thing that I need to do is get all my holes punched because it really did not do a good job of doing that at all. This piece is the one that has, I can barely see where the holes are supposed to be, and so I'm going to start with that, and I'm going to have to take it out of the view of the camera to get a really close look at it. So I think I'm in the right place. Let me look at that. Okay, let's go ahead and punch that hole. I really hate that the machine didn't do it because it would have been much more precise on where they should be, but we adapt and we make do. Okay, I think I see that one. I think it's right where I have this, but again, I'll take it out of the view of the camera. Let's go ahead and see what we get. Okay, there's the first one. Now for this second one, I'm just going to mark where the hole is. And see what I get. So I'm going to lay it down lightly where I think it needs to go. Don't press too hard or you'll make an impression on your leather. Let me take a look at it. Go ahead and press that. Looks good. And then again, just going to set it down where I think it should go. And I'll press that. Okay, those look pretty good. Now I think I might put my earring upside down on this piece. I can see I need to trim a little bit better there. Oh, how do I want to do this? Well, I think I'm just going to be stuck doing what I didn't really want to do. Otherwise, I could try to mark it, but I'm going to go for it, just like this. So I'll set it back down on the hole, and then I'll press. I think that looks fine. So I'll line it back up again with this, even with the top of the maroon leather. Clean out my little hole puncher thingy. Put it down and press. Okay, I think those turned out fine. So I'll do the same thing here. I'll probably just fast forward through this. These are 6mm jump rings. I'm going to see if these will be large enough to make it through the 2 holes or if it's going to bunch it up too much. I'm going to hold it with my needle nose pliers. The opening is right here at the top, and then this is a jump ring tool. Just going to slide it over the jump ring and twist, and that opens it up. Hopefully you're able to see that. Now, I learned on my last pair just to put the 2 layers together face to face. And use a smaller needle nose plier here, and then just take it on through. Then hold it again with your needle nose pliers and twist the 2 ends back together. Hopefully you could see that really well. Oh, I think that's a great size. That's not too small. I was afraid it'd be too small and it would pinch them together. I'll go through this one more time and then I'll fast forward through the other. I'm holding my jump ring. The opening's right at the top. I try to find the smallest slit in the tool that it'll fit through and then twist it. I'll use a smaller pair to hold on to it. Try to line up my holes. There we go. And just go through both holes at the same time. Holding it again with your needle nose pliers. Put the slit of the jump ring tool over it. And then twist it back. And there's our first earring. So that I can fast forward through everything on this one, I'm going to go ahead and just put the hole in the top for my fish hook. I like it when I can just put the fish hook directly on the earring. So we'll see if I get the hole close enough to the top to be able to do that, because the loop in the fish hook is not real large. So I'm just going to put it down where I think I want it. I'll bring it close to me to really check. Okay, let's see if we can do it. The opening, it goes around that way and then it ends on this left side. So I'm going to just take my needle nose pliers, hold it really steady here, and twist it. Okay, I think that's going to be fine. I don't think I'm going to have to use a jump ring. So I'm just going to go in reverse. I'm going to grab the loop with my needle nose pliers, hold tight to the earring and twist it back. And then these these move around a little bit, so if it doesn't look totally on in one moment, it's going to look fine the next. Fine. Okay, so there's my first pair of there's my first earring. I'll finish the second one and then I'll show you a picture at the end. Now,